Right, I got some receivers in from Arms of America. These are imported from Poland. They're actual Polish receivers, 80%ers, or what they would call an 80%. But there's actually no such thing as an 80%. It's just a term made up. There's per ATF, it's either a firearm or it's not. And these are not considered firearms. They're just metal tacos. So, because you can't hold a breech block or any kind of firing mechanism like trigger or hammer, it's not a receiver. This can be shipped directly to your door. If you've got a drill press or a hand drill motor, you can do it just fine. These are nice because they already have they're already heat treated, which is awesome. They have the rails, which are heat treated, already spot welded in, and the center supports installed. So that takes a lot of the work out. A lot of people don't want to have to weld the rails in or try to do all of that. It's a lot of extra money if you're going to do it. This gets you into the building part of it without having to buy a bunch of extra equipment. So it's actually pretty nice. Long way from the days of just having to cut your own blanks out, flats, and bending them and doing all that stuff and cutting everything and getting it to work. So this is a big step ahead. I've got to where I don't even like to heat treat my own stuff anymore because there's no point in it. You can buy these. These are $70 a piece. I mean, $70 are heat treated, rails spot welded in, center support riveted in, black oxide. Why would you even bother? I know I'm not going to anymore. But I bought 2 of them and they were nice enough to throw in some Polish rivets. So I've never used foreign rivets before. So that ought to be cool. And the description is Polish Radom AKM 762x39 80% receiver, 100% made in Poland with rails and center support installed, fully heat treated and black oxide finish. So that's nice. They're definitely oily. Probably see my fingerprints on them. They look really nice. I mean, if you're doing a Polish build, it's perfect because it's already got the C&P there. If you want something that's more correct for, like, say, a Bulgarian or something, well, you're just going to have generic. Yeah, you're not going to have the correct markings. It doesn't hurt anything. It just depends on what you're going for. If you're just putting a kit together just to have fun with, it don't make a dang bit of difference. But these are pretty nice. I mean, haven't taken them to work. I'm going to do that here in a little bit. You'll see that on video too, and I'll hit them a couple of times right here. See their hardness. And that doesn't mean that's the same hardness all over, but it gives you a good idea. The reason I typically do it in the center is because it's more level. Even though these things don't really weigh a lot, if you're trying to check out here and that thing's hanging off, it actually puts pressure on the needle on the hardness tester and can give you a false reading. So I always try to go as balanced as possible. So this is usually the best spot for me. So whatever this is what I consider everything to be. And it seems how it's going to be a semi-automatic firearm anyway, it really won't matter. If it's a little harder than it needs to be or a little softer, it really ain't going to matter. People for years didn't heat treat anything other than the rails and the axis pinholes for your hammer and your trigger, and pump tons of rounds through them and they work just fine. So it's not that big a deal. But right now you can get these things, I guess you would say, just as the factory would have them to assemble the rifles in the factory. So why not? $70, you're good to go, plus shipping. But yeah, Arms of America sent them out. So I wanted to see just so I could hardness test them. Like I said, that's not really going to make or break it for me or anything. I just out of curiosity, just to see what they are. Since they're factory done and not done by me or someone else, done by the professionals. Like I said, just as a data point, doesn't really matter. So I'm going to take them to work tomorrow. Of course, it'll be just a few seconds here for you, but alright, I'm going to start using this Rockwell hardness tester to test these receivers out. You can see I've actually scraped the finish off there with some Scotch-Brite, Being an oxide, it probably wouldn't hurt it whatsoever. If you had some thick paint on there, it could give you a false reading. If you had scale buildup from the carbon or whatever from the heat treat process, you would definitely want to sandblast or sand that off of there, because it will give you a false reading. Some of you might want to know, some of you probably don't care, but there'll be a few who'd want to know how one of these works with this dial. This is a really old machine, but it works great. It gets tested or recalibrated or checked every single year. We have the red numbers on the inside for your B scale. The black numbers are for your C scale. There are weights attached to the back of it back here. Well, all the weights on it, you know, we'll set up with a diamond tip checker here. Oops, did I slam into the camera there? It's got a diamond tip. Now, I've had people tell me before, which I understand why they say it, that a 40 thousandths thick or 1 millimeter thick sheet metal should not be checked because it's too thin. Well, that's correct if you weren't going for the hardness I'm going for. Per this machine and the instructions, if you're above 20 in the C scale and the hardness, then you have to use a diamond tip checker. It doesn't matter how thin that material is. If I was checking a razor blade and it has to be, you know, 50 Rockwell or whatever, I would still have to use this. The ball tip in something that as hard as what these receivers should be would actually damage the ball, would give you a false reading. So it doesn't matter the thickness, it's the hardness. So I have to use this diamond check per the instructions for this Wilson Rockwell hardness tester. But anyway, you can see this right here. This telescopes it up and down. You can see it goes up and down. It presses up against that. When you set your 0 on here, because you'll spin this, you'll put pressure on it until it spins around. You got a little dot here with this one. When that one's on 0 and this one here lines up, it does have an adjustment down here where you can spin this to make sure it's right where you want it. Then when you get it set, everything's lined up, you push that button right there. You see that lever over there, rotate. That gives you, that's putting pressure, it's sinking that diamond tip plunger into it. And then when it settles out pretty good, you actually rotate, throw this lever back that direction. That puts all the pressure on it. And that's when the dial will, whoop, and that will tell you what your hardness is. Anyway, let's get this over with. Bored you enough with it. Alright, here's the first one. Arms of America. I had to make this. It's D2. It's been hardened to, I think, 62 Rockwell. But I had to make it in order to work with these receivers. For it to slide in there and hold it. If I was to try to check either of the tips, you can do that. But if it leans like this, it will actually make the dial move a little bit. So I want it to be balanced. So I'll do a couple of hits right in here. So I'll rotate this here until we get that up there. It's probably dark down here in this section because I got it the ISO on the camera set up to. Alright, made contact. And what I'll do is I'll spin that until you'll see all those go around. Line up. See, I'm in there here. I could actually spin this around and line it up if I want to, but I'm going to try to get my needle on that. So I'll lightly tap on the handle here just a little bit to try to get it there, and then I can spin that right there. That should be good. I'll throw the lever down here. We'll see it spin. Typically it will come back about half of whatever that is. Alright, I'm settled right there. Now I'm going to throw that little silver lever I showed you. Whack. And we are looking at 37. All you do is just rotate that, take the pressure back off of it. And I'll move it just a little bit and I'll check a little bit more here. Go right back up, bump it again, get it set back up. Try not to slam my face into the camera here. There's a bear hugging around it to do this. Alright, here we go. Hit number 2. It's going to be pretty much about the same. Throw the lever. And yeah, we're about 37.5. So that's the first one. See the little dimples there? Alright. Now to do this one. I think the specs on these, if I can remember, are like 38 to 43 or something like that. So anywhere around there is going to be pretty good. Alright, here's number 2, the second one. Get it up there and make contact. Oops. A little too much. There we go. Here's, whoop. Ooh, this one's going to be way different than that one. And whammo. This one is sitting at 32. Being a semi-auto, shouldn't hurt anything though. Do another one here. Now that just means in this section, I could test another section. It could be way harder or softer. We don't know, but I just test them here and then can use that as to, okay, that's basically what the whole receiver is. Throw the lever. And boom. And now we're almost on 33. So this one's a little softer in that area. But yeah, it's not that big a deal. I guarantee you it's definitely perfect enough for a semi-auto build. You shouldn't have any problems out of this because the ends here, they could be 45 Rockwell, who knows. I can't test that section though. I could test up here, but if I put this up here, let's see if it'll do it for me. Bump the camera. See, if you put a little too much pressure out here, watch. See, I'm just lightly tapping it. See how it moves it? So that's why I don't do them on the ends like that. Being as light as this is, it probably work, but I typically just go in the center. Anyway, that's enough boredom with this. In case you were curious, that's how the Rockwell hardness tester works here. It's an old machine, and with this thin of material, it doesn't matter the hardness I'm going for. It's above 20, so I have to go in above 20 on C-scale, so I have to use the diamond tip. So there you go. Alright, well, we made it back from work testing out the hardness on these receivers here. Don't let any of the numbers that you saw, keep you from wanting to purchase or anything like that. It's not going to hurt these receivers at all. One was really, really close to the correct, and the other one was a little bit softer, which guarantee you it's still way harder than what you will need for a semi-auto. You'll be just fine. Those were just data points, just something to show. A little bit of differences in them, and that's just in this spot. You never know, it could be perfect everywhere else. But yeah, I'm happy with these receivers from Arms of America. Came in from Poland, imported, ready to be built on. I mean, you can tell by the way they sound. I mean, they've definitely been heat treated, obviously, with the numbers that we got. But like I said, don't let any of that bother you. That's really nothing. I do have a little, looks like an HM stamped into it. Whatever that's for, proof mark or something like that. This inspection, there's a C back here. That one's got a C on it too. The alignment marks or just stamp approvals or something. Who knows? Anyway, if you're thinking about doing your own builds, obviously you can buy parts kits from the Arms of America. They've got receivers here. You don't have to worry about buying spot welders and trying to weld your rails in there or getting the stuff heat treated or what are you going to do. It's like, these things are basically $70 plus shipping. You're ready to go. Just put your holes in, match your trunnions, and there you go. You'll have to also do the bottom. There'll be 4 holes in here and 1 hole back here for your trigger guard, but that's, they have jigs. that you can put on there, and all you gotta do then is just, they already got all your hole placements as far as your fire control, not for back here, but there are jigs that you can do. But anyway, I like these receivers. They're not too bad at all. Not bad at all. There are more expensive options, other places to get them, and those are awesome receivers too. But if you're looking for something that's heat treated and basically done for you, except for the holes, this is a really good option from Arms of America.